Hello, Father. My name is Gerard, and on the internet, people call me the Completionist because I don't just beat the games, I complete them. It's been nearly a month since my last Completionist video.
All are welcome in the house of our Lord, my son. What brings you here today?
Well, Father, it's about Silksong. See, since the game came out, I've had thousands of people asking me to complete the game, and so I dove in head first, fearing the worst. Completing Silksong requires doing several infamous achievements, including a no-death 100% playthrough under 30 hours. I also had to do a speed run of the game in under 5 hours, and I had to beat one of the final bosses with a massive handicap.
This sounds like much to bear, but you seem like a man of conviction. Was this truly so difficult a task for you?
Honestly, not really. In the end, I ended up really loving Hollow Knight Silksong. I'd argue that I loved Hollow Knight Silksong way more than I loved the original Hollow Knight.
You say you enjoyed yourself in the end, and yet you still carry sin. Before you continue, I must know, did you truly complete everything in Hollow Knight Silksong?
Yes! Crashing to the show. We won't accept impossible. Full stop, full go. It's time we let the people turn it up. You can hear the future. You can try, but you will never see us fall.
So I have a bit of a complicated relationship with the original Hollow Knight. At first, I completed this game back in 2019 after it was one of the most requested games for me to complete in the year before in 2018. By the time I got to it though, it had been packed to the brim with additional content in the form of 4 DLC packs. And I grew to adore Hollow Knight over my time in Hollow Nest. I enjoyed most of the DLC just fine. Even the Steel Soul mode run wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, requiring me to complete the entire game without dying a single time. However, it was the Godmasters DLC pack where Hollow Knight went from an exciting yet challenging game to an ultra-punishing, soul-crushing, miserable experience for me in the end. Completing this was one of the most difficult games I had to overcome. So you can imagine how I felt about potentially tackling its sequel, Silksong. The hype is unlike any other game I've seen in recent years. After years of silence, the developers at Team Cherry finally revealed Hollow Knight Silksong to not just be another DLC pack, but rather a full-fledged sequel, promising a game bigger and better than anything you'd seen before. And at $20, it felt like it was a gift. But to me, the thought of completing the game haunted me. So when I finally returned to YouTube last month, I was immediately flooded with requests. I started up Silksong, fearing the worst and dreading this grind. Welcome to the land of Farloom. Princess Night Hornet has been captured and taken from her home in Hollow Nest, and it isn't long before she escapes her captors, left with only her own wits to guide her home. Just like its predecessor, you're given very little opening dialogue, pushing you right into the action. The kingdom has fallen into disrepair, and the bug inhabitants are either hiding in scattered shelters or have succumbed to the haunting. The ruler and deity of Farloom, the grandmother Silk, has been sealed away and extends her influence out through her silk strands across the entire land, causing bugs to begin losing their sanity in pursuit of a pilgrimage. It's said that your wishes will be granted upon completing a pilgrimage to the top of the citadel, and so Hornet's goal is clear, or so it seems. I knew that Steel Soul mode was once again present here in this game, so I wanted to just get it over with and start right away and save myself an entire extra playthrough. Normally, Steel Soul mode is unlocked upon finishing the game for the first time. However, you can just use the Konami-like code on the extras menu, letting you start with Steel mode right from the get-go. The most difficult achievement requires completing a 100% playthrough on Steel Soul mode, along with another 100% playthrough under 30 hours. So looking at all of this work and scope and realizing what was ahead of me, I said, screw it. I want to get it over with. This is how I'm going to begin my journey with Silksong.
Wait. Please, wait. My child, are we getting to the point sometime today?
Oh, yes, Father, I'm sorry.
Surely you might offer a tithe for my time with you today.
Oh, right, sorry.
I suppose that will do. Continue.
My first playthrough of Hollow Knight Silksong was engulfed with frustration to the max. I would spend days getting stuck on bosses like Trabio. The Last Judge was tough, but doable with a super cool premise. The First Sinner was a massive roadblock for me. In the end, Trabio tripped me up so diabolically that he would literally haunt my dreams because of the mental block that he came to represent. I spent a lot of time stuck on this one fight. Since I was on Steel Soul mode, death was not an option, so as soon as I got to 1 or 2 hits left, I needed to pause the game, save and quit, and go back to my last bench, or just turn off my Xbox. I knew Trabio wasn't that hard, but I just couldn't wrap my head around the fight. Nothing was sticking, and every time I sat down, it was a matter of time before I lost my patience and started bleeding time all over again and again. And then through my progress, I died. Steel Soul mode meant my file was deleted, and 18 hours of the playtime that I had spent was gone with it. Demoralized doesn't even begin to describe it, but in my mind, I didn't have time to be upset. I picked myself back up and got back to it. And then I realized something just clicked. I had spent so much time climbing this insurmountable hill that I hadn't really stopped to truly appreciate what made Silksong so special in the first place. Suddenly, I saw it all with fresh eyes. The kingdom of Farloom is breathtaking. The Moss Grotto immediately greets you with bright foliage, full of life, teeming with tiny moths and plants, all showered in glistening rays of light. The Deep Docks feels industrial by comparison, covered in mechanical walls and doors that seem to barely hold together under the wear of time. Towns like Bone Bottom and Bellheart paint a grim picture of Farloom's inhabitants, but they aren't static places. And as you get further in the game, you'll gradually foster interesting relationships with everyone around you, transforming Hornet from a calloused, uncaring loner into a compassionate hero that Farloom's pilgrims need. This isn't even to mention relationships you develop over time with the mapmaker Chakra, the old Garment, and Zaza, or the tragic second sentinel still guarding the high halls. Silksong has a number of different quests called wishes, all of which need to be granted in order to complete your requirements for true 100% completion. These range from killing a bunch of crows to finding 5 purple flowers, and even completing long delivery quests across multiple areas in a race against the clock. Many of these wishes are tied to someone specific in the world, such as helping Chakra track down her old master, or defending Bone Bottom from the Skull Tyrant. Each wish grants you something to improve your loadout for Hornet, whether that's rosaries acting as the main currency of Farloom, shards for crafting ammo for your tools, or even equipable items themselves. Even if you aren't working on wishes and just exploring the world, you'll find yourself constantly finding new tools, memory lockets to equip to your crests, health upgrades, spool fragments to extend your silk meter, and sometimes an item that you don't even know the purpose of it yet. There are fluffy fleas scattered all across the entire world for you to rescue, and eventually you'll rescue enough to see the traveling flea caravan for yet more mini-games. It's also another strange case of the bugs in Silksong looking absolutely nothing like their real-world counterparts. I honestly wish that fleas in real life looked as cute as they do here in Silksong. Despite her name, Hornet is technically a spider and spins her silk for various actions and abilities. Weaving silk lets you heal, launch your needle to grapple faraway walls, and unleash powerful attacks on the haunted bugs of Farloom. Skills like the cross-stitch parry feel incredible to just shred enemies down. Bosses also gave me way less trouble this time around, and that's because of Silksong's biggest design trick: upgrading your skill invisibly. Every time you hit a roadblock like a tough boss or brutal gauntlet of enemies, it's always 1 or 2 notches above your current skill level. Team Cherry wants to always keep you just under what you think you're capable of, because they're quietly training and molding you for the next challenge. Common advice online is that if you're struggling, seek out tools to make your life much easier. And that's definitely true, but only because there are 53 different tools in total, giving every kind of player something to latch onto. Cogflies can swarm bosses, sting shards can catch anyone stopping in midair, and tacks on the ground had a surprising amount of utility. Curve claws are a great boomerang option for fighting flying enemies just out of your purview. Now on their own, these are plenty useful, but when combined with a polyp pouch, adding a poison effect with each hit, you barely have to lift a finger for some of these fights and just focus on dodging for most of the fight. What you aren't seeing though is that this reliance on tools is secretly training you to play differently, focusing on dodging first and foremost to stay alive. This becomes important very quickly since tools are a limited resource. You refill their ammo at benches, but that costs shards, which will drain quickly if you are overly reliant on your different tools. As a result, you'll inevitably find yourself in a spot where you're out of ammo, and you're forced to defend yourself with nothing but Hornet's trusty needle and your wits. By default, Hornet's moves and attacks just like she did in the original Hollow Knight. It feels great and snappy, but for me, I found it tough to wrap my head around the diagonal down stab, especially for platforming's sake. This is where the crests come in. Throughout the game, you'll venture into creepy crypts, binding the soul of a buried bug to capture its essence as not just as a board to equip tools onto, but also fundamentally change Hornet's entire moveset. That starting moveset is the Hunter's Crest, but you'll also obtain 6 others, in addition to upgrading the Hunter's Crest twice. Each of these crests could be someone's ideal way to play Silksong. The easy choice for me was to play with the Reaper's Crest. I love a good tank class with big heavy weapons, and the running uppercut combined with the huge knockback is just the way I like to play. Not to mention the huge hitbox of the down stab, giving plenty of space for platforming. In my first playthrough before I died, I never even really experimented with the crests because I was so focused on following a guide or just asking advice from friends and family who played the game. What I didn't realize was that in the beginning, there is no optimal route through Farloom. Silksong is designed for you to find most things at your own pace and time and reward you for forging your own optimal paths. See, that is what is so amazing to me. Every system in Silksong feeds back into another, with the whole game just preparing you for every infamous encounter. They're showing you how valuable it is to build a community of people and not to close yourself off from the world by tying Hornet's growth as a person directly to your movesets and abilities. Team Cherry carefully weaves gameplay into its storytelling so easily that you don't even notice it. Hello?
Yes, it was very fascinating. What else, my son?
Basically, I'm a big dumb idiot who rushed through my first 20 or so hours, and I probably deserve to lose all that progress. My head just wasn't in the game like it normally is. Besides, everything in Silksong changes when you finally reach Act 3, and I would have missed the best parts of the story if I actually hadn't even started over. Stupid rosaries. The deity of Farloom, Grandmother Silk, was sealed in an eternal sleep by her clan of sentient spiders called Weavers, but begged to be awakened to rule over Farloom once again. Weaver descendants were captured from all corners of the world, one of which being Hornet herself. Hornet's unique abilities made her a prime candidate for Grandmother Silk, much to the chagrin of her offspring Lace. You'll face Lace twice before the end of Act 2, after which you'll finally reach the top of the Citadel, where Hornet can awaken and challenge Grandmother Silk herself. This is where a casual playthrough will diverge from full completion. Grandmother Silk is honestly kind of a pushover fight compared to everything you've faced up to at this point if you fought every boss along the way. And if Hornet chooses to bind her, you'll see Silksong's first ending, where Hornet takes her place as the new Weaver Queen of Farloom, ruling over the pilgrims with the same iron fist as the Grandmother. However, if you granted enough wishes up to this point, along with assembling the Soul Snare with the Caretaker, Hornet will instead play her needle in, trapping the Grandmother in a vortex of void, the same void from the first Hollow Knight game. Things go wrong quickly when Lace saves Hornet from being dragged inside, only to take her place instead. Grandmother Silk uses the last of her strength to protect her daughter Lace from being engulfed by the void. This ends up sending strands of void-infested silk all throughout the entirety of Farloom, raising the dead, infesting the minds of many bugs that are still alive, causing earthquakes and tremors throughout every part of the world. And with that, you technically have your second ending. However, this is only the beginning though, as you're able to break apart the void now, entangling your save file on the menu to reveal that now Act 3 has begun, where Hornet devises a plan to venture into the abyss to rescue Lace, putting Grandmother Silk to rest for good, saving Farloom from the fate even worse than it originally faced. In my eyes, it's like Symphony of the Night's famous upside-down version of Dracula's castle, but with way more meat on its bones. With this new beginning, Silksong transforms its entire world with way tougher enemies, new bosses, harder variants of old bosses, and most of the progress you made building up the communities of bugs being completely eradicated by the new apocalypse that Hornet inadvertently caused. Act 3 has a markedly different tone across the board, and that hits me so hard so many times. Just like Symphony of the Night, Act 3 is filled with tougher versions of boss fights from Act 2, but Silksong makes sure to present each one in a really novel way. Easily my favorite boss in the game is still the Cogwork Dancers, a pair of bug automatons that move to the rhythm of a sweeping waltz. It's a beautiful fight, but in Act 3, you discover the Citadel crafted several automatons to replace different clans of bugs with unique combat styles, driving many of them to extinction. There's a character named the Green Prince that was imprisoned throughout Act 1 and 2, and you can easily let them out with any one of the simple keys you collect in the game. But you can't progress this storyline until Act 3 takes place. If you travel to Greymoor in Act 3 though, you'll find them mourning the loss of their people, their land, and their culture. Diving into the Green Prince's memories, you're transported to the past in the land of Verdania. It's a mossy green thriving land filled with bugs and lights and antelope-type beings, and it's genuinely one of the most gorgeous areas in Silksong. At the end of these memories, you'll finally fight the Green Prince with its hazy counterpart, and this is the harder version of the Cogwork Dancers fight. The style and grace of Verdanian warriors, always joined in pairs of long sweeping attacks, was copied and replicated in the automatons of the Coral Chambers. And once you're victorious, you'll find the Green Prince dead next to his partner, finally together in the afterlife. The theme of finding peace in death is a reoccurring theme throughout the game, as aimless suffering afflicts almost every bug in Farloom. Garmund and Zaza are a reoccurring pair, an old bug with his dog-like partner/steed, sweet and kind. Just like the mapmaker Chakra, doing quests with Garmund will have him assist you in several enemy gauntlets across Farloom, and this extends into Act 3 with dire consequences on the line. Many of the heroes from Act 2, like Chakra, the Second Sentinel, and Garmund and Zaza, now defend the few remaining helpless pilgrims from the void-infected monsters in Act 3, keeping the few safe havens protected for a time. Eventually, after some time, you'll find a new wish on the quest board in Belhart. You'll find Zaza without Garmund, happily guiding you to somewhere within the storming blasted steppes. Soon you'll find that Zaza needed your help, as now even Garmund has fallen victim to the void. You were able to spar with him in Act 2, but it's clear that this new lost Garmund has lost what made him your friend. After his defeat, Hornet will apologize for the attack, saying that it was necessary to free him from the curse. Garmund brushes her off, saying he just needs some time to rest, and he'll be off in no time. He crouches to the ground, and Zaza rushes to sit by his side, ever faithful even in death. Despite how much they roamed before, this room is where they will remain for the rest of the game. Despite how incredible these emotional moments are in Act 3, you might be surprised to hear that Silksong does not require many of them for 100% completion. Now, there are achievements for most of the optional fights in Act 3, such as the Pinterest, Nihilith, the Grand Gourmand, and Lost Garmund. There are many others that are simply just for fun. The Crawfather is a hilarious new boss fight for the Crow enemies, but only rewards you with the Craw Memento and the Craw Bell. Many quests are like this, where they might reward rosaries for completion, but otherwise they're entirely optional collectibles. To get the completion, speed completion, and steel heart achievements, you'll need all 20 mask shards, all 18 spool fragments, 3 silk hearts, 4 crafting kits, 4 tool pouches, all 13 silk skills, the aforementioned 6 crests, locate all 30 fleas, acquire all 51 tools, get all 4 needle upgrades, do all the mini games with the Flea Circus, and finally acquire the Everbloom, which you'll need to reach the true final boss within the Abyss. This might sound like a lot, but this actually excludes all of the mementos, cylinders, and several minigames. Almost all of those are completely optional. Silksong features a bestiary called the Hunter's Journal, and you'll need at least 230 entries to get the True Hunter achievement. However, there are technically a few more optional entries to truly fill out the whole journal. Enemies in some of the dream sequences, the exclusive boss fight for Steel Soul mode, and even some strange exclusions like Lost Garmund are all optional to fill the Hunter's Journal, rewarding you with the Hunter's Memento and an achievement. On that note, there are a lot of new high scorers by the Wanderer Seth in Fleetopia's minigames, None of these are really too tough, but altogether, based on what people are saying online, Silksong has a 112% requirement for true completion, even though the game does not recognize anything past 100%. The only way you'll know this is in Hornet's house in Bellheart, where you can eventually buy a horn to play your music cylinders and see all the mementos and relics you've obtained in the game. No real reward, just bragging rights, plus the therapy you might need after seeing some of these scenes. Finally, to wrap things up, Silksong has 5 different endings you'll technically need to see before you're completely done. One for a bad ending, where Hornet takes Grandmother Silk's place as the ruler of Farloom, another for trapping her in the void, triggering Act 3, and another for getting to the end of Act 3. You'll also need to defeat Grandmother Silk in Act 2, while cursed, preventing you from using tools or healing during the fight. However, the most difficult challenge in Silksong comes from the most unexpected place, Mr. Mushroom. The last ending involves tracking down every location of Mr. Mushroom throughout Farloom. Usually he's in plain sight in various spots, but the 7th location hides Mr. Mushroom at the top of the cradle in Act 3, making for one of the most punishing platforming challenges I have ever experienced. At this point, I had already done my under 5-hour speedrun of Act 1 and 2, so I figured I'd return to my Steel Soul 100% playthrough to clean up everything I needed for that 112% playthrough. I went around cleaning up the smaller quests like the mementos, and yes, all the Mr. Mushroom locations. My Hunter's Journal was one enemy away from being completely done, and at the most crucial moment, I wasn't paying attention, but I once again died in the platforming section, which eradicated my save file for the 2nd time. That meant that I had to do another brand new 100% playthrough all over again when I was minutes away from being done, which yes, was entirely unnecessary, but that was the problem with how I played this game. In my effort to save myself some time, I ended up burning tens of hours, resulting in a playtime of over 160 hours total. This was a mistake. It was my mistake. I could have done this whole thing in 2 or 3 playthroughs max. That's my fault. So, can I recommend that you complete Hollow Knight Silksong then? That's a tough question since it depends on your definition of what completion is. If you're just getting your save file to 100% completion, then by all means, go for it. It's pretty simple. It's difficult, but it's very doable. Silksong wants you to see of as much of the world as you can, and it's worth pushing past all of the punishment to see the beauty and especially seeing the sadness. It's so easy to get lost in the humanity of this world and its conflicts. And that's absurd because this is a world of bugs. Unfortunately, filling the Hunter's Journal will only get you lore from the Hornet's perspective. Mementos are bragging rights in Hornet's house, and the speedrunning achievements are really only for the most hardcore of Silksong fans. Every ending you get unlocks a new beautiful start screen for a total of 7 unique screens that you can change at any given moment once you've unlocked them. My favorite one, of course, is the Steel Mode screen. And going forward, after you get the true ending, you'll not only get Hornet's weapon on display, but Lace's next to hers as well. Getting the true ending in Act 3 probably still counts as finishing the story, so true completion is a touch too far for most players. Just don't be surprised if you walk away from Silksong with some heavy thoughts in your head. That's basically it, Father. I didn't even talk about the gorgeous animations, the attention to detail, or the stunning music recorded by a live orchestra of performers. I could spend all day long talking about Silksong. But you know what? I think this is as good a place as any to call it right here. So, with that in mind, I give this game my completionist rating of finish it.
Thank you so much for coming here today, Gerard. You are absolved of your lack of faith.
Thank you, Father. I really appreciate you listening to me this entire time. Wow, I feel so much better.
Yes, now, if it isn't too much trouble...
Right. Oh yeah, let me just go ahead and... Oh boy. You know what, Father? I actually know of a fantastic farming place not too far from here, so if you just give me a little bit, I will be right back.
He's not coming back.
Finish it! Crash it!